Natasha, and thank you so much for joining me today. Well, today we definitely want to make our supplies stretch further, and I want to make some of our dies today work better for us, but I want to show you a little trick, and to do this I'm going to use some rub-ons today. Now these are these stunning charcoal, beautiful rub-ons from 49 and Market. There are 4 large pages in here that are 12 by 6 inches, so there are so many options. And then in this one here, there are going to be 6 pages of 6 by 8. Now, 49 and Market rub-ons, if I haven't said it before, are just absolutely beautiful to work with. If you've ever been put off in the past by using ones that are really hard to rub on, they don't seem to stick well, they don't last, they, lots of different issues with them, where it's too sore on your wrists or fingers, if you've got issues there, then these ones are ones to try because I absolutely love them. They're super easy to apply, to cut out. I like that they have like just enough stickability that you can, move them around and they don't adhere down, until you've got the rub-on in the right place. But actually once they go down and once you add pressure, then they are going to transfer. So that is something I love about these ones. I, as you saw, have a piece of a card front ready to go, and I also have a vintage label. This is from a honeybee set. Now it is old. It's several years old, but I believe it's still available, and I know that you've seen it in so many of my videos at this point. But I love a good big label like this. Now this is a nesting die set, but the nests aren't super close together. I think there's maybe 5 or 6 in the set, so we need to come up with some alternatives. We want to stretch our dies, make sure we can use them, but without sort of taking over the image. So for this one, I'm using the charcoal sort of colored ones to do the background. Now I really love the idea of a bit of a color pop as well, and that's what I'm going to use these gorgeous red foliage leaves for. I have cut out mainly the leaves of the charcoal ones, and same with the red ones. These are from 2 different sets, although I think they look not the same by any means, but similar, and that you could think that they would work together really well. As I mentioned, I'm going with that pop of color, but I don't have endless amounts of these rub-ons, and I want to make the most of my products. I want to stretch them further. So you can see that I'm holding that vintage label in the center there of my project, which is where it's going to go, but I don't want to waste rub-ons going behind there and waste them when no one's going to see them. So that's why I keep holding that label up against it to make sure that I'm just putting the rub-ons in all the places that they need to go and none where they don't need to go. Same goes here. I'm going to cover this vintage label with this red leaf, but actually I really want to make the most of what I've got. So I cut the leaf directly in half. I'm able to sort of put it in a couple of different angles where it looks like it's just coming off the edge of the vintage label, but actually we're making the most of it. There are other ones in the set, don't get me wrong, I could cut those out, I could cut lots of them out. There are plenty of rub-ons that come in those beautiful sets, but as I said, I want to make the most of our supplies. We want to stretch them, we want them to go further. So this is definitely one of my good tips, is if you can't see it, then don't put it there, because we want to save those things. Even if you're stamping, don't bother coloring the bits that aren't going to be seen, even though it will look beautiful in the process, and even though you're enjoying it. If you are enjoying it, by all means keep going, but don't spend time on those things that nobody is going to see, or money for the matter, when it comes to rub-ons. Now this is my printables, one of my printable sets here. These of course usually print in a standard 8.5 by 11 sheet, but I shrink them down to all different sizes so that I can print them out wherever, and they go wherever I want them to go. So some of them are going to be bigger, some are going to be smaller. I print them out at about 100%, 80%, 75%, 50%, and around about 40% I stop because they start becoming quite small at that point. But for this one, all of the circle ones, these are designed, these ones are at 50%, and I can just use my punch to punch these out. So really nice and easy. All of my printables are designed that you can easily cut them out with like some fussy cutting scissors or long bladed scissors. I don't want you to be sitting there forever trying to fussy cut them. I work really well at getting straight edges, and everything can kind of be in one slice, if that makes sense. Anyhow, on to the vintage label. So this is exactly the same size as the one I have added the leaves to. But I actually want this to be more of a layering piece, but of course it's not going to layer because it's exactly the same size. I could do a drop shadow where I would shift it, for example, to the left and down just a little bit, just, you know, a couple of millimeters, and that would create a drop shadow. But if I want there to be sort of like almost a layering, matting layer effect, I have cut it in half, and we're going to do another little trick that I will show you. Then to get the same-ish kind of color, I'm actually adding that same combination, the dark Carnation from Gina K, and then a little bit of the cherry red from Gina K on top. Again, we're working with different companies here, so I don't expect the colors to mix and match perfectly at all. You can see I've cut these vintage labels, and I'm just going to add a little bit of adhesive up the top ready to go, and then I will add on the label, just this one here, I will pull upwards so that you're going to get a nice shadow up the top, and then this one here I'm going to pull downwards so that you get a nice shadow down the bottom. Now it's not a perfect all-round shadow, but when you only have one die of that shape or of the size that you need, then this is going to be a great hack to stretch your supplies and make them go further. So either using a drop shadow or use that little technique where you can cut it in half and add it to the top and the bottom, or, you know, one way in particular. So there we go. I also knew that I was going to have a little piece of twine or burlap ribbon or something going through the center, so I knew that I didn't necessarily need the shadow or the matting layer to go all the way around. So this was the perfect opportunity to try this technique. And then, as I mentioned, I've got my little bit of twine that's going to go around the center. I'm going to put some double-sided tape on the back here and just make sure it is nice and secure. I've got my sentiment from my printable sentiments, which you can find at NatashaFooteCreative.com. It is a beautiful website. I am so proud of it. My husband has built the website, and he is the sort of tech guy behind it all. If you are emailing us, it'll either be him or I that you are speaking to, and he's very good with all those bits and pieces, so that's very helpful. But if you head on over to NatashaFooteCreative.com, and on the 20th of November, we are starting Crafting Through Christmas. I have 10 videos in 10 days ready to come at you. They are good videos. You do not want to miss these, so you can head on over to NatashaFooteCreative.com. There are also all these printables, there are card making classes there are hundreds of videos at this point, which are obviously exclusive to the website. This is what truly helps support me, and I really appreciate that, because I know there are lots of choices out there, and we have to make choices in this economy at the moment, but I appreciate it for those who are able to support me. And of course, that enables you to have all of that extra content and all of the exclusive access to bits and pieces that are over there. But there are lots of freebies, lots of printables, lots of downloads, lots of videos, lots of things you can find for free as well. But head on over to NatashaFooteCreative.com to find these printables for free. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video and a couple of little techniques and tricks that you learned here, and I will see you next time.